Hey guys, what's up? It's KShy22 here, and we're going to be continuing with our login form. Now, honestly, you guys, I wanted this to be our last tutorial for this login form, so we're going to go ham on this. We're going to do everything that I would personally do without encrypting and going above our heads too much. So I'm going to literally push you guys to the limits. And I don't want to do this, but I'm going to because I feel like we can. I feel like you guys have the capability to do this, and I feel like you guys might want to. So let's go ahead and begin. So in our login tutorial, we have a register and a login button, correct? Well, however, let's go ahead and we're going to put guidelines down, and we're also going to put make it so multiple users can be registered. And this is all going to be done through our system IO. So literally everything in our login form now is junk. So we're starting over. The only button that's available is register. Now in our register form, everything under the register is junk. So let's go ahead and then also we are, since we're setting boundaries, adding some good boundaries. So what we are adding here is our boundary. So if we don't want a bunch of random users on our program, what we can do is create an ID. And what this ID allows us to do is regulate how many people are registering, who is registering, and basically anybody with the ID can register. But if you don't have an ID, sorry, you can't register. So if textbox3.text, which this is our ID, by the way, is equal to whatever ID number we want. We can make this through a IO system file, but really we don't need it to be. Let's name it 09. Actually 2015. So then let's go ahead and our actual function can be here. Else message box dot show, you must provide a correct authorized ID. And we can put error. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we can go ahead and we have to create the register form before we can create the login form, since this is going to be done through IO. We're actually going to be doing this through our own settings, but none of this is going to be encrypted, by the way. So this content, oh, that's not even going to be the same. Okay, first off, we're going to see that we have a username and a password. So let's go ahead and create two new variables. Dim username 01 as string equals nothing. Dim password 01 as string equals nothing. And let's go ahead and put this as equals textbox1 dot text and textbox2 dot text, just to make our code a lot more shorter and just make it more compiled. We can go ahead and start with our writing, and just to make this even more faster, let's just go ahead and do text IO open and close. So I know that I'm saving, so that's a reader, and I can realize that this is saving. So if the file does exist, I'm going to save it in my directory. So let's go ahead and do application.startup path. Then and users, and then .txt. And then we can do system.io.file.exist. No, delete. And we can actually delete that file. Like I said, I was going to make this more advanced, so let's do some critical thinking here. a way we can have multiple users is if we have it find it by user. So if we want it to be found by a user, all we have to do here is put two of these, and then we can put username 001 and then. But if it does exist, then we're changing the password. That's literally what we're doing, is you can change the password by re-registering your account. And the same variable goes here, and all we're writing is write line. We're going to write a line, and it's going to be textbox1.text. Then we're going to say obgwriter.writeLine, and then textbox2. So in the format, the format that this is going to be displayed in is, if we have this, it's going to say your username. So if it's kshow22, it's going to be on the first line. So this is the first line right here. And then on the second line is obviously your password, which would be like password 101 or whatever your password is. And so that's going to create usernames. And now basically we have a formula set up here. And what this, I really want you guys to get this, so I'm going to literally try to type out this formula. So it's going to try seeing if the file exists. What it is startup path. So startup path, which is SP, plus a slash, plus X, because your X varies. So we don't really have a value, our value of X changes. It is the only thing that changes. Then we have plus the end extension, so which is txt. So really, think of it, the X is the only changing variable, and we can find that changing variable if we know our login. So it's kind of like our own kind of way of doing this. So we can really make this work, you guys. And so if they do make it through this process and the writer closes and it's saved, we can say, hey, message box registered. So they have successfully registered form1.show and then me.hide. I mean, we actually want this to close just to clear up our process. So our register form is actually done, but we will want that code to refer to on how to log in. So if textbox1, actually we're going to need some reading to do here. So first we need to see if that file exists. So if that file exists, the username and dim, we can just copy and paste the dims just as well. That's not too hard to do. So most of this is just kind of like the opposite now. We're going to be reading the file. So if it does exist, good thing. Else, message box dot show, you cannot sign in with this information. And now our username and our password. System. We're actually going to want to find that code again. I don't know why I exit out of it. Or go in here. Since we're opening from my drive, we can dim read. We can copy this code right here. And it's going to be this one. So here we are again in form 1. We double click the login. We have it's checking to see if that file does exist, if that username exists. So if their username, basically we're renaming the file where the passwords are kept as the username. So it's going to just be renamed as that. So it's going to try reading that file, and hopefully this will all make sense to you guys when it's done. If it doesn't, comment below, and I'll try to remake this tutorial and more better. But okay, so it's going to remember how I had it set up so it's read line by line. Basically, that's what we're going to do, is say dim content 1 as string is equal to read line. We're only reading the first line. Now dim content 2 as string is equal to read line. So now we have our 2 lines, and now let's go on with the next thing, which would be seeing if the usernames and the passwords match up. So if username 0001 is equal to content1, then go on. But however, if username 01 is equal to nothing, then else, now we can go on, because that's literally going to do nothing. So if it's not equal, actually we can just say it's not equal by going like that. So if it is not equal to nothing, then we can go on, which would say if password 001 is equal to content 2, then let's go on. But however, if password is not equal to nothing, then we can go on. Sorry, I forgot to create my if then. If password 001 is not equal to nothing, then we can say, hey, you successfully logged in. So main.show and me.hide. But if there was ever a problem, we could say you cannot sign in with this information. And we can actually take out this else here and say that, and then read.close. I don't know why that's there. The read.close should be after it reads the lines. So after the 2 lines here, we want the read to close. And then for the message box, we want to create another jump. So end of script. Like I said, you guys, I'm going way over your head. It's hard for me to even think right now because I'm trying to teach you guys, but it's not really working out. I'm trying, you guys. So now we can say go to end of script. And I'm going to go ahead and describe all of this to you really quick. You don't have to listen. You can jump ahead. So what this is saying that our username, what we're going to be checking from is this field. So username 01 is equal to the username, and the password is equal to the password that we inputted. Then it's going to look for the username that we registered under. So in our files, let's go ahead and have an example. So out of all these files right here, let's say if I typed in the username kshadow22, it's going to look for a file named kshadow22.txt. If it does not exist, it's going to say you cannot sign in with this information. However, if it does exist, so let's say this was the file kshadow22, it's going to go on to the next process and it's going to read it. The first line is going to be content1, which is going to be the registered username. And then the second file is going to be the registered password. So now what this is doing is checking to see if the registered password is equal to the input password. The input username is equal to the registered username. And then it's going to make sure that it's not equal to nothing, so they can't like somehow bypass our firewall here that we're starting to create. And then it's going to see if the registered password is equal to the inputted password. And if it all does equal and the password isn't equal to nothing, we will then display our information. So let's go ahead and do this. So as of right now, I literally can't log in. Not even with the information that I had before. kshadow22 and mouse, or even mouse1. So let's go ahead and delete all this information here. Now let's go ahead and hit our register button. Now we know in order to register, we do need a authorized ID, which is 2015. I remember creating that, you guys, and I hope you guys remember that just as well. And we're going to develop a new username, KShadow22, and we're going to create a password named mouse. So this is going to be our first user, and we can go ahead and make sure that all works. KShadow22 and mouse. Then we log in. So we logged in, okay. And just to prove that it's still there, log in again, mouse, and then log in. So there's our login. Now let's say we want 2 users. Let's say we just type in our ID again, and we just type in whatever user that we want. So let's just do KShadow this time, and we'll do mouse22 and registered. So we just kind of flip-flop the integers. As we can see, KShadow22 and mouse still work. But guess what, you guys? Now this time we have KShadow and mouse 22, and that works just as well. So now I can actually kind of show you guys how this works. So if you hit Control Shift Escape, you can pop up your task manager. You can open up your vhost 32, which is your program. Right now that's running. And we can see our users here. And if we open up the file, we can easily read the username and password. Now this is not easy. This is easy to find, you guys. If you're a beginner and you're going to start selling your software, and this is how you're displaying your information and getting your users registered, you better think about watching some of my later tutorials where I will be teaching you guys how to encrypt this information. That was a lot of information I taught you guys in this video, and I'm sorry that I bombarded you guys with all this information, but this is important stuff, and I think it's good for you guys to be able to hear this and try to learn it. And sometimes you just have to have a challenge with programming, and today this was a challenge for you guys. I bet it was. Thanks for watching, though. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. But for a direct, quick response, email me. My email is in the description. Be sure to check that out, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.